Let's talk about document design. We're going to be doing and talking about design to a certain extent in the class. The resume is a really good example of document design, and there'll be a few other examples as we work our way through. The basic idea here is that in business correspondence and professional writing, you're very often called upon to shape the document, the information, and the like in such a way that is appealing to the eye, that makes the information easy to digest quickly, and also gives a sheen of professionalism to the product that you are conveying to your potential employer, to your boss, to your client, to your team members, et cetera, and so forth. What design comes down to is choice. Often this choice is made for you. Firms will have design principles for select products that professional writers are meant to follow. In many cases, though, you'll be called upon to make your own choices in order to make the information more palatable. The first choice often in a written document is typeface or font. As you prepare your resume draft, you should be reading through Chapter 5, the first half of it. You don't need to get to the whole thing for this section of the course, but from 153 through page 162, where we're looking at primarily documents. The second half is concerned with incorporating visuals into your text, what we'll talk about when we get to the later assignments. Make sure to read the section on typography. The discussion, for instance, on serif typefaces and sans serif typefaces is going to be particularly important for document design. Although you may find it necessary to break the rule for use of typefaces in a document when drafting up the resume, but I'll leave that up to you, an individual choice. There are three basic design principles discussed in the chapter: grouping, contrast, and repetition. So grouping allows for readers to see the relationship between pieces of information by placing them into proximity or ensuring that they are similarly aligned on the page. Contrast allows for readers to distinguish between types of information or to recognize hierarchies in the information that you are given. So for instance, large group headings, and then make sure there's contrast between the items that would then follow and the like. And then, of course, repetition is a key element of design. In the case of your resume, consistency and predictability are going to be key factors. It demonstrates attention to detail to make sure that all of the formatting and design decisions are consistent throughout, and that you have carefully arranged the document so that reader can understand and know why they're moving from section to section and what that means in terms of interpreting your experience and qualifications. And of course, you want to be familiar with the typographical devices at your disposal to put these design choices into practice. The tools for these typographical choices, if you're working in a word processing application such as Word, is found in the menu bar. In this case, Home allows you to make decisions about typeface, size, a whole number of typographical decisions here, and in addition, there's also the design menu here for longer documents when you're not, as you are with the resume, making moment by moment, line by line decisions on how to present information. I'm not saying that you need to have Word. Much of the work you're going to be doing in this course can be done on Google Docs or the like. But I do recommend it. It is an industry standard for professional writers, and it offers you more design capability than Google Docs does. And this may be particularly important for doing well on the resume. The suite of Microsoft Office applications can be downloaded for free from the Rutgers Information Technology website. You can go to their page and get the address here, getoffice.rutgers.edu, log in with your NetID, etc., and download the application to your PC or Mac device. And I'll put that link on the Canvas page so that you have access to it. But let's take a look at some individual resumes and talk about some of the important design decisions and the formatting and organizational requirements. Obviously, much of the information for preparing the resume can be found in the Preparing an Effective Resume section of the text, which begins on page 505. It's important to remember that while there are fewer conventions in writing up a resume than there are in formatting business correspondence, there are still some conventions that you need to pay attention to. And then there are a number of design choices that are up to you as an individual to follow through on. The organization of a resume is fairly consistent with some individual choices. You should top a resume off with the heading that will have your name and contact information. The contemporary resume often includes, almost always now includes, a job objective, career objective, or the like at the top. Many resumes now also will include a brief qualification summary to give a potential employer just a quick review of some of your key skills and key qualifications that you have to offer. The typical resume will begin with your education, followed by your employment, and then related categories, honors, and the like, including hobbies, interests, if you want to give your resume a more personal feel, and also to kind of flesh out some of your qualifications. For those of you with limited work experience, I encourage you to expand upon any volunteer or extracurricular activity you have and use those to identify key skills and experiences that you could use to reach an employer. For those, and this includes you, who are applying for jobs out of college or in college, obviously your experience in the classroom is going to be crucial to demonstrating your qualifications and skills, and so you'd want to make sure that you identify when you're expected to graduate, key courses that may be of interest to potential employer, and any activities, honors, and the like. In your employment experience, you'd want to identify each position individually in reverse chronological order, so the most recent first. Note here that there is design, choice, and evidence in the heading, in the name of the employer, the position, and the information about the position, to help the reader quickly and easily distinguish necessary information and understand what they're meant to get out of all of this. The notes in the text on how to revise the draft to make for a more effective resume are very helpful. Note the difference here between the vague, lackluster resume and the concise, active resume. Note, too, that the description of each of these positions is what we call grammatically parallel, and that they both begin with a verb in the past tense, organized recruitment drive, etc., etc., cataloged and photographed new collection. So that's something you should be striving for in your descriptions, using active verbs and trying, wherever possible, to use grammatical parallelism to make the qualifications easy to read quickly. And don't forget the design notes on page 519 that give some excellent guidance for organizing the information in the space. And then there are a number of sample resumes you may want to examine carefully beginning on page 523. Please note, though, that your resume should be in the classic organizational format that opens with a header and then may include career goals and qualifications, but then moves to the education followed by professional experience. So, for instance, this resume that opens with the work experience and then moves to the education would not be, in your case, an acceptable model to follow. You may, though, find in your career as you move and develop that resumes that focus on experience over education may be more favored. But for students in your position, moving out of college or in college and applying for a job, the education should be the first information that's detailed, then followed by your work experience. As it is in this very classically and tidily organized resume that opens with a very nicely designed header with key contact information, education, experience, all on a single page. On a final note, I feel I should remind you that this is a writing class, and so your resume and your cover letter will be graded based upon my evaluation of your written work. This is not a job clinic. I do have a lot of experience with resumes and job searching and the like, so yeah, do take my word seriously. But when it comes to an actual job search, you should be seeking out advice from everybody that you can find, from your peers, from people who are in the career into which you hope to launch yourself, from job counselors, from the career services here at Rutgers, wherever you can get assistance. Don't rely upon my word alone. Judge everyone's advice against other information that you've received, and weigh and judge for yourself. For these assignments, I'll be posting the grading criteria shortly. I'm looking primarily to see that you have spent a lot of time and effort in making the appropriate design choices and detailing necessary information, and most importantly, in your cover letter, drawing explicit connections between the language used to describe the qualifications and responsibilities of the position with your own skills and experiences and qualifications that you have to offer. So good luck, enjoy. We'll embark now on our first graded writing assignment. Have fun with it.